If there's any other further discussion on that item, we are going to move to item J, consideration of updating the lifeguard job description. And what I've asked Adam to do is point out the changes that have been made in that lifeguard description.
There was very minor change. There's a very minor change being presented to both the lifeguard and to the pool manager. But to make any change, it requires the council to approve it no matter how minor it is. The first one in the lifeguard, of course, is we wanted to make sure that it is expressed in the description the prohibition of cell phone use by employees when they're on duty at the, got to keep up with the changing times. Texting and cell phone use is something that's very common in our high school age and college age kids, and we want to make sure that it's specifically provided in their job description that that is a prohibition described.
Do we need a motion for that?
We need a motion to make any changes to a job description.
So, and that's the only motion we're looking at for this particular...
Yes.
I make a motion they can't use, well, approve this.
No, approve the
new
lifeguard job description.
That is the only change.
Yes, that's the only change.
That's all you felt needed?
Yes.
So
It's pretty detailed. I mean, they have some, I'm sorry, Paul.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or any questions? If not, we'll move to vote.
Councilman Johnston.
Yes.
Muscat.
Yes.
Branny.
Yes.
Frederick.
yes.
Crowhart.
Yes.
Motion carried.
K is consideration of updating swimming pool manager job description. And Adam will talk about the major change is a requirement for certain hours to be spent at the pool.
One of the things that's come out of some discussions that have been had is that we wanted to make sure that the job description clearly provided for a minimum amount of hours on staff. And this job description entails and if you want it to be a different number, please let me know. I have detailed not less than 30 hours per week on site.
I make a motion we approve that. That's only one? Nick Schulterhurst.
That's the only one.
Second.
Any questions or conversation on that item? If not, there's a motion and a second to approve updating the swimming pool manager job description. Call for a vote.
Councilman Johnston.
Yes.
Muscat.
Yes.
Branny.
Yes.
Frederick.
Yes.
Crowhart.
Yes.
Motion carried.
L,
Basically, in a 7-day week, if I want to just ask you a question, 7-day week, you're only requiring them to be at that pool a little less than 4 hours per day.
Well, there are certain duties.
More than
There are
that.
certain duty functions that they have to do that they can't do within the rest of their job description if they were to separate it out like that.
Okay. All right.
Remember, this is a minimum amount of hours required.
I'm following.
L is consideration of approving concession worker job description, and this would be at the pool.
This is an entirely new job description that has not existed prior to now. It simply is a generic form that shows to a concession worker to provide the services of working in the concession stand at the aquatic center.
Well, then hold on a minute. Then
Sure.
there's a complete change to the lifeguard responsibility because it was a lifeguard responsibility.
It was a supportive role of a lifeguard.
Okay.
That has not changed.
Okay.
However, the primary responsibility will now fall into the concession worker's role. The whole idea that was discussed about a concession worker during some of our internal meetings was that by hiring some concession workers, you would relieve the amount of lifeguards that you would necessarily need in the concession stand, therefore reducing the amount of lifeguards you would need overall to function at the pool.
Okay.
And that is in your packet, and it's fully described. Do you have a question about any of the items or a discussion about any of the items?
But you're saying a minimum qualification for a concession stand is to be a 10th grader and experience as a lifeguard or swimming instructor?
No.
Where do you see that at,
We're
Jim?
reducing that rule if they just want to run a concession stand. They
Right.
want to hand out
Where-
cookies
right.
and candy bars.
What page are you at?
Second page of concession worker.
Uh-huh.
Desired minimum qualification, right at the top.
Okay.
Why do we have that in there?
I don't think that is...
What are you looking for?
A, Any combination equivalent to completion of education experience. Any combination equivalent to completion of 10th grade and
yes,
experience
That
as
shouldn't be
lifeguard.
in there.
Yeah, you would want to eliminate the and experience portion, correct?
Or just leave it. Leave it out. Are we
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
on?
Okay.
For concession work.
If there were
We should have some
That's the idea for this whole thing, is to get rid of that
Yeah, it should
concession
be
worker
anything
having
for
to be a lifeguard.
experience.
Right.
Let the pool trainer.
What is that item? I'm not going to pull mine out.
That's A on desired minimum wage.
Okay.
Have you discussed, or will you be discussing a salary range for a now concession worker as opposed to a lifeguard, assuming the responsibility of a concession worker?
Due to the fact, and this is one of the things that's, that is currently being offered up in job description, is that a minimum salary be anticipated. We usually deal with this a little bit, the salary question a little bit different. That's usually bundled in our package when we approve the hours for the pool and what each employee is going to get paid on a rately basis and what kind of promotion events we're going to do. So that's usually approved in a different set of information. However, my proposed recommendation being that it is a salary, it is a seasonal position, and the fact that they're not getting certifications like a lifeguard would, that we would likely start this position at $6.50.
Can you do that with the minimum wage laws?
Since it is a seasonal position, it is not covered by the minimum wage.
But we're not dealing with that tonight.
Correct. We are not dealing with that portion of the
Yeah, I make a motion, we approve this thing.
With
But,
the,
wait a minute.
With the correction that Jim
Yes.
threw in there.
A motion has been made. Is there a second?
I have a second from Councilman Johnston.
A motion and a second has been made to approve the concession worker job description with the removal of A, which is the desired minimum requirements. Are there any further questions or discussion about this? If not, I'll call for a vote.
Councilman Johnston?
Yes.
Muska?
Yes.
Rainey?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Crowhurst?
Yes.
Motion carried.